George Kilpatrick, inspiration for the nation, celebrating people we feel good about. Charles Jackson is a member of the 100 Black Men of Syracuse. Yay! And now I'm finally a member. Yay! So now we
Oh,
got that.
okay.
Yeah. They didn't tell you,
A
but
lot. It seems a lot of people came on board, and so
yeah. Although, so anyway, so on February 21st at the Bethany Baptist Church Fellowship Hall, the 100 Black Men will present the truth about legal cannabis in the community. Charles Jackson, this is your brainchild. And so talk to me about what we need to know. Now, should I be flip and say this is about legal weed in the community? Is that too flip to say that? But
I mean, I think depending on who the audience is, I
I know
mean,
that's right.
sure, why not?
Right.
You meet people where they're at.
Yeah.
So the 100 Black Men as an organization is not for or against. What we're trying to do is give people the actual information about what the laws are
Mm-hmm.
in terms of we're focusing on personal possession, how to what the process is to get a dispensary,
Mm-hmm.
and and things like that. We're looking at what the health situation is in terms of that, and we're also looking at possibly how that's going to affect the community. So we're being open-minded about it. We just want the community to have information because at the end of the day, as you well know, in our communities, what happens is someone says, I heard from my cousin's brother's uncle, some information, and we want folks to be able to make decisions based on the facts.
Yeah, and this is really important because uh, this is something that, again, what you've said is the 100 isn't taking a position, but we have to be educated about this issue because it is going to impact our communities, and we should also be in all parts of it. Now that's opinion, but you're just there to give folks the fact, and so who are you going to have on the panel to help with that?
So we're being supported by the Syracuse Community Health Center. So the head of substance use, Dr. Sunny Aslam, is going to be on the panel. Then we also have City Councilman Machuk is going to be there to talk from what that's going to look like in terms of ordinances and things like that. And then we also have Brother Elliot Boyce, who was in law enforcement for, I believe it was 25 years or more.
Yeah,
So we're going to look at it from the legal aspect. We're going to look at it from, what the resources of the city might be used. And we're also looking at the health aspect.
yeah, and again, this is also the people can have education. Now the event is free; it's open to the public.
Yeah.
You're asking people to pre-register. Why?
So we can get some idea of how many folks are going to be there. Also, when they come in, we'll probably ask them to give email so we can reach out to them. Also supporting is the organization I work for, which is the Syracuse Youth Substance Abuse Prevention Coalition. So we're going to have all kinds of one-sheet information on cannabis effect on young people. Typically, what I say is the human brain is still developing up until 21 to 25. And so indulging in cannabis or any other type of substance for a young person can slow their brain development. So we also want to do some talk about brain safety.
Tell us about the work that you do outside of this moderation of this panel.
Oh, so the Syracuse Youth Substance Abuse Prevention Coalition. We are a federally funded coalition. We use a model that basically goes, we're based for youth, our target group are sixth graders through 12th graders in the city of Syracuse. Our the thought process behind it is basically it takes a village. So anybody can join the coalition. And the idea is the more people at the table, the more effective we'll be. Typically, what happens with most grants are you say, here's the problem, this is how we're going to fix this, give us the money. The way we do it is, here's the problem, here's who's at the table. We receive the money, and then the folks at the table, because they know not only what that substance is, but why young people may be or may not be using those substances.
Yeah, that's really important to know. And so for this panel, again, you're asking people to come share their experiences. Well, you're going to have the panelists talk about the different aspects from community health perspective, law enforcement. Again, Elliot Boyce, a retired state trooper, over 25 years. I think he has actually 32 years, something like that. But yeah, so and it's going to be at Bethany Baptist Fellowship of 149 Beatty Street. That's on the east side of Syracuse. And again, you know, I think of it this way, right? So much of the enforcement of cannabis has impacted our community.
Right.
And so we now have an opportunity. We have an opportunity to be in all sides of it, right? Again, not pro or con. I'm saying we, me meaning me, we as a community, not the 100, not the church, not the church, not the 100. but we have to have the information, because this is a critical time in this country. And I believe that I just read somewhere where the first legal dispensary in upstate just opened recently somewhere.
So we're also going to talk about that. What happens is that in total, there is supposed to be 150 dispensaries in all the state of New York. And they're opening up, and we'll talk about this on Tuesday, on that Tuesday, but there is a injunction against Western New York, Central New York, and I believe the Southern Tier.
Okay.
Because there's a Michigan growers who are suing the state of New York, because the state of New York will only allow growers in the state of New York to be the ones who provide the cannabis.
Yeah, and so, right, and so and it seems like everywhere, every step along the way, there's a stop and start, stop and start, stop and start. So.
Well, I don't think that's such a bad thing, primarily because much like alcohol, you know, once that genie gets out of the bottle, there's no way to stuff it back in.
Right.
And, you know, there are states like California, Nevada, Colorado, Washington, D.C. They have over 20 years of experience with this. And so I think we need to look to those states to see what's going right, what's going wrong, to kind of, you know, manage it better.
I remember I was in Colorado actually when they first introduced it, and it was so wild to see, you know, the marijuana leaf.
The billboards.
Yeah, it was great. You know, when I just happened to be there, and that it actually, people were actually going to Denver and other parts of Colorado, but actually going there to have the experience of that. Like that was a thing for a minute. So you're right, looking at some of these experiences and making sure that, well, New York can take a lesson from some of these places. And what do you hope people get out of this?
Information, like really good information. I know some people fall on one side or the other. And, you know, like politics today, some people are more extreme. They're on the extreme sides. And so maybe we can get them that I'm not saying you shouldn't stay on the extreme side if that's what you want to do, but at least be able to talk intelligently about this subject matter. And if you feel like you need to lobby or if you need to do whatever you need to do, I mean, for me as the coordinator for YSAP, I want parents to be able to have a conversation with their kids, understand what's this going to look like in terms of what the ramifications may or may not be.
And what potential ramifications might there be?
I don't want to sway anybody one way or the other. I will say that the examples have been depending on where there are places. For example, I know that there are places like, for instance, in New York, where young people may be caught with cannabis and the police just take it from them. There are other places that go as far as arrest. So, for example, in Colorado, the criminal justice system, the whole idea about legalizing it was that Black and brown people will get arrested less. And so what they found out is the number of adults who were being arrested dropped dramatically. The only thing was that the number of Black and brown people being arrested stayed the same because they were arresting young people more. And so, whereas in New York State, cannabis is legal, it's still federally not.
That's what I want to get to, federally not.
And so, depending on which administration is in power in Washington, if you're a young person, you get busted. If it is a more conservative administration, they may flag you, which means you're not allowed to partake in any federal programs, including joining the military and things like that. A more, more progressive, sometimes they don't look into it. They don't move it past the local level.
So it seemed like lots of questions. And then even locally, how jurisdictionally will it be enforced from border to border to border, depends upon where you are. All right, so that's lots of questions, lots of answers. February 21st, that's Tuesday, February 21st, 5:30 to 7:30 at the Bethany Baptist Church, 149 Beatty Street in Syracuse. Charles Jackson will be the moderator with the guest Chomo Joke, Dr. Sunny Aslam, and Elliot Boyce. Presented by the 100 Black Men, and there'll be not lots of resources and information for you to educate you on what are we calling this? The truth about legal cannabis in our community. Legal cannabis. I haven't said that word so much, but for Pookie and them, it's the truth about legal weed in the community. That's for Pookie and them.
You know what? As long as they're not saying marijuana, which is racist,
okay,
that's fine.
Oh man, you gotta tell me about this. Talk to me.
Oh, real quick. So the history behind it is that when Prohibition was ending, the guy who was the czar of alcohol, he understood that if Prohibition ended, he's out of a job. So what he then pivoted to was cannabis. And it was called cannabis all that time, but to hype people up, he started calling it marijuana, but pronouncing it hard like a Hispanic, marijuana, and associating it with Mexicans and jazz players. And you know what color jazz players were.
Right.
And so that's where you get the movie Reefer Madness.
Reefer Madness, yes.
And he toured the country talking about marijuana and how Black jazz players were going to come get your women, and Mexicans were going to come in and do all kinds of stuff.
I did not know that history. Thank you, my brother. See, right? Reefer obviously is another term that's used. All right, Charles Jackson. So you want to know the truth about legal cannabis? Come to Bethany Baptist Church Fellowship Hall, 5:30 to 7:30, Tuesday, February 21st, 2023. Charles, thank you for being an inspiration for the nation.
Well, thank you very much.